Alright, video game warriors, welcome along to our Ninja Gaiden 4 comprehensive walkthrough series. Hopefully doing alright. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the stuff that we're going to be covering in this series so you can get an idea of all the bits and bobs. We are going to be grabbing all of the collectibles such as all of the Gourdies, and we're going to be completing all of the Purgatory Gates. We're going to be completing all of the missions and collecting all of the accessories that we can collect in a base game playthrough. And we'll also be grabbing all of Ryu's combat skills. I'm going to be going through every single chapter. We'll also be collecting all of the health upgrades for Yakumo and Ryu. I'll be giving hints, tips and combat tactics along the way to help us out through these battles. I am going to class this walkthrough as a comprehensive walkthrough series, so I am going to be going into as much detail as I possibly can to help you out as much as I can do throughout this walkthrough. I'll be pointing out the achievements that we can grab as we play through. There are some achievements that are specific to a particular chapter. For example, there's one where you have to surf on a surfboard and avoid all the obstacles throughout the level to get the achievement. I'll be pointing that out when we get to it. So in this series, I'm going to be playing the game through on normal difficulty. I also can't call this a 100% walkthrough because there are some achievements that you can only get in New Game Plus. For example, there is an achievement for completing the game on Master Ninja difficulty, but you can only unlock Master Ninja difficulty after you've played the game through once first. I'll be playing this on Steam with an Xbox One controller plugged into my PC, so it's the Xbox buttons that I'm going to be referring to. If all of that sounds good to you, then let's jump in. Alright, video game warriors, let's get jumping in to Chapter 0, which is essentially the sort of tutorial and basic controls chapter. So we are going to go for story mode and then new game, overwrite checkpoint data. Yes, we want to do that. Start a new game using existing save. No, we're not going to do that. Normal difficulty. Yes, we want to do normal. Start the game on normal. Yes. Let's jump in to the action. Alright, so chapter 0, basic controls, basic movements, stuff like that. So let's get cracking through. We've got X is light attack, Y is heavy attack, and B is throw shurikens. So we'll just smash on through this. You can also push in the right thumbstick if you want to lock on, and you can flick the thumbstick left or right to sort of like cycle through targets. Press it again to lock off. If you're close enough to an enemy, the attacks will kind of like pull towards the enemy anyway, so you don't really have to lock on. It just depends on the situation. Anyway, let's crack through some of this. So blocking and dodging, right trigger is to block attacks. You can right trigger, hold down right trigger and then pull a direction and it will dodge attacks. You can also do a perfect dodge. So if you dodge like just before the attack hits Yakumo, it will trigger a perfect dodge. It says here, during a perfect dodge, you can use the left thumbstick up to perform a quick slide and position yourself directly behind the enemy. So I'm not sure if we'll get any here, but we'll give it a whirl. There's one. It's basically if you see like the blue, you know, sort of like slow motion thing, that's classed as a perfect dodge. Like that. But yeah, a lot of the time, basically it's a good idea to sort of like hold down right trigger a lot. And after you've done like an attack combo or a sort of an attack chain or something like that, you can sort of like right trigger and then dodge. It's a little bit safer to do a dodge like after an attack combo. This will teach you about knockback recovery, so you can press right trigger or A to quickly regain balance. So I'll show you if we get hit by these rockets like so, you can press right trigger and it kind of like does a recovery flip type thing. So do that if you get knocked back or knocked down or something. Then perform the recovery. I usually use right trigger for that. Like so. But other than that, yeah, just crack on through these enemies, and then just basic controls. Just jump. A is jump. I think this teaches us about obliteration. So you have a chance to dismember an enemy whenever you attack one. A dismembered enemy will be weakened but can perform a powerful counterattack in desperation. So if you have chopped enemy's arm off or something like that, they can sort of try to like jump on Yakumo, and I think they, if memory serves, I think they like blow themselves up or something. It does like a lot of damage to Yakumo either way. So basically you just press Y against a dismembered enemy to perform obliteration technique, which I think we now get access to like so. So he's got his arm chopped off, press Y. I love the obliteration camera work, it's so impressive. So yeah, that's basically how that works. Ultimate technique, so basically this is just hold down Y. So let's have a look. Upon executing the technique, you will dash towards a nearby enemy, inflicting heavy damage and becoming invincible for a short period. While charging the ultimate technique, you will not flinch until you receive a certain amount of damage. So basically just hold down Y. If you take too much damage, you will sort of be knocked out of the charge. When you see the blue charge here, that's level 1 charge done. So just let go to execute ultimate technique, and that's all there is to it. That is that. What I was saying earlier about the dodging after an attack combo, I'll show you an example. So for example, if we do an attack combo on this enemy here, I'll generally sort of like dodge after the combo. So that's the combo chain, and then dodge afterwards, because sometimes, like if you don't, Yakumo is kind of like stood there doing nothing for like a second or so on that last strike of the combo. But if you dodge sort of like at that time, it's just a bit safer. Essentially keeps us a bit safer. It'll dodge attacks, and it'll block attacks or dodge attacks basically. So Bloodbind ninjutsu, Raven form, is left trigger. So let's have a look through that. Basically you hold down left trigger to enter Bloodraven form, and then you can do light attacks and heavy attacks just like you would do in base form. So Bloodraven attacks will knock an enemy out of a power attack. So if you see like a red exclamation mark, it means the enemy is doing a power attack, and if you hit them with a Bloodraven attack, it will stop the power attack and then leave the enemy vulnerable and leave them open to attacks. So I don't think these enemies do it a lot, but some of them might do. So that is that essentially. You can also do it with B. So B is throw shurikens, but you can also do like a ranged Bloodraven with hold down left trigger and then press B. So that can sometimes come in useful depending on the scenario. Most enemies cannot block Bloodraven form attacks. If you hit an enemy with Bloodraven form attack while it's blocking or performing a defensive action, you will stagger the enemy, leaving it defenseless for a short period. The Bloodbind gauge is filled through the following. So lapse of time, hitting an enemy with a base attack, or using obliteration technique on the enemy. So executing dismembered enemies using obliteration will fill your Bloodbind gauge significantly. So essentially, obliteration technique is probably one of the best ways to fill the gauge, which is the sort of like red and yellow gauge down the bottom left. That's the Bloodbind gauge. So these enemies, I think, are sort of programmed to block a little bit more. So if we do a few standard attacks, you'll probably see that he's starting to block. He is. So if you want to like break his block, use a Bloodraven form attack. This guy again, I think he'll block a lot of attacks. We can see he's blocking all of our stuff, and then he's countering our stuff. If you want to stop him from blocking, just hit him with a Bloodraven attack to sort of like break the block. And then we can put in some standard attacks after that. This one is... Let's have a look. So, Cursed Blades that have been passed down through the Raven clan bloodline. They take the shape of twin katanas in base form, and a singular Tachi blade in Bloodraven form. In Bloodraven form, press and hold X or Y to extend the blade and perform a charged attack with increased range. So if we hold left trigger, hold down Y, it does like a massive slash. You can also do it for holding down X. I generally find it better to do the Y version as opposed to the X version, because the Y is like a horizontal slash, but the X version can sometimes come in useful depending on the enemy or the scenario. So, you know, do what works for you, or do what works for the scenario. So that is essentially that. This guy once again is blocking, so just use your Bloodraven to take him out of his block. I think this is kind of towards the end of the tutorial, really. This is like, so power attacks, which is what I mentioned before. It's like the red exclamation mark. So if you see the enemy has like a red exclamation mark, it's a power attack. Enemy power attacks are telegraphed by a red aura. While glowing red, an enemy will not flinch and cannot be interrupted with base attacks. Blocking a power attack while in base form will cause your guard to break, leaving you vulnerable. While in Bloodraven form, you can block enemy power attacks at the cost of Bloodbind gauge. So a Bloodraven form attack executed against an enemy's power attack will stagger the enemy, dealing heavy damage and leaving it defenseless for a short period of time. The closer the enemy was to unleashing the power attack, the longer it will stay vulnerable. So this guy should probably do one straight away. So Bloodraven form, and hit him with a Bloodraven form attack. Once again, he's doing a power attack. So I'm pretty sure that there'll be like a... Hopefully it does it again. So if you look on us, we've got a red exclamation mark on us. Technically, you can just like block a power attack, but it does still do damage to Yakumo, I believe, and it also breaks his guard and leaves him vulnerable. You can block it with a Bloodbind block like that, and then if you use the blood gauge to do the block, which is you would hold down block and then you would hold down left trigger as well, so you're doing like a Bloodraven form block, which is like more powerful than your standard block. So if you block it in the Bloodraven form, it won't take any health away from Yakumo, and it also won't break his stance and leave him vulnerable. So hopefully I can just show you that one more time. So we're going to wait for the move, we're going to hold down block, we're going to hold Bloodraven form. So we've like blocked the entire thing. So it is worth knowing that, because it does come in like super useful a lot of the time. And once again, if he's in the middle of casting the power attack, then hit him with a Bloodraven attack like so. It breaks his stance, leaves him open to our attacks. And once again, if he's just blocking normally, you can break that block with a Bloodraven attack as well. So that is essentially like the basic sort of combat buttons, you know, the basics of combat, stuff like that. And then I think we just have like a cinematic thing coming up here, which essentially you just run forward. So just click in the left thumbstick to run forward, which we'll get to in just a sec. Right, so this is essentially the dash tutorial thing that I was mentioning just a second ago. Basically just click in the left thumbstick. That's pretty much all there is to it, and you just run forward. This bit is basically just running forward and jumping over a few obstacles and stuff. So I'm probably just going to skip through this section and meet you in the next section. Right, here we are. So with the power of video editing, I've just skipped forward to the next bit of chapter 0. Once again, it's just running forward. It teaches you about wall runs and stuff in this section. So this is just like while facing a wall, press A to leap up the wall. You essentially just hold forward to sort of run up it. It also talks about wall running. You press A to jump off it, but essentially with that it's just press towards the wall, press A to start the wall run. This one I kind of like angle the camera, so just jump towards it, just hold forward, press A to jump off. Same again, jump forward, hold forward. That's all there is to it. You got flying bird flip. Just get in the middle there, just spam A. Bird flip up. That's all there is to it. A few other bits and bobs it will do here. This is kind of like the story building section of the game. Talking about the Raven clan and the Raven clan prophecy. A little bit of mention of the Hayabusa clan. Good old Ryu Hayabusa. Super Ninja. But yeah, this is just kind of like setting the story, setting up the game type thing. Once again, we've got a flying bird flip thing, so just get in the middle, spam A, flip on up. Some more story building and stuff like that. And wall running. Let us know in the comments if you've played Ninja Gaiden before. Is this your first Ninja Gaiden game? If you played lots of them, definitely let us know in the comments. Video Game Warriors. You also don't have to press A at the end of a wall run, by the way, so if you run towards it, Yakumo will just do like a little sort of spin flip thing at the end if you don't actually press the A button. But choice is yours, really, however you want to play it. This bit just teaches us about assassination, so if you can get behind an enemy without being detected and then just press Y, that's all there is to it. You can perform an assassination. You don't really tend to do a lot of those. To be totally fair, in this game, it's not really, based around stealth assassinations and stuff like that, but you can do some from time to time. But obviously, most of the time, you're just running in there like a crazy ninja and just obliterating everything. So yeah, this is just a bit more of Chapter 0 essentially here, and just a few more tutorial bits and bobs. Nothing too wild. So on this section, all we're going to do is just put the stuff that we've just learnt to the test, which is the wall running and stuff like that. So it's just up here. Just press forward, press A to jump, hold down forward. You can do like a little jump mid-air as well, so if you're like in the middle of a jump, you can press right trigger to do a dodge. It does like a little dodge forward, mid-air. A few more wall runs, jump, right trigger to dodge forward. Another wall run. That is that. While you're sprinting, if you press the left thumbstick in again, it'll do a slide, so we will need to use that from time to time. But yeah, this is essentially Chapter 0, it's just setting up the story and basic controls and stuff like that. Let us know, like I mentioned, if you have played a Ninja Gaiden game before. I think I've played one of the really, really old Ninja Gaidens, which I think the first one was something like 1988. You can do an assassination from up high. If you can see an enemy down below, just press Y to pop the assassination. So they had like the 2D Ninja Gaiden games. I think they were on the NES, like the original Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken. And then they had like the 3D Ninja Gaiden games on, I think it was Xbox 360 that they first came out for, if I'm not mistaken. And then recently this year, 2025, we've also had another 2D Ninja Gaiden game, which is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, created by the Game Kitchen. That's the team that made Blasphemous, which is a really good game, by the way. Blasphemous. I've not played Ninja Gaiden Ragebound just yet, but I'd love to give it a bash. But I have played Blasphemous, and it's a fantastic game. Highly recommend it. Anyway, yeah, so in this section, once again, it's just setting up their story and setting up, a few bits and bobs, a few characters throughout the game and stuff. So we got Sayori here, and we're essentially going to take her out of here and then just crack on through the main story of the game. But for Chapter 0, Video Game Warriors, all we've got to do is run through those doors behind us, and that will throw us into Chapter 1. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you have enjoyed the video, pop it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos from me. drop a comment, let me know how you're getting on with Ninja Gaiden 4. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.